Let's start. So today I'll basically be telling you what I learned throughout the semester. I'll be going over 5 different topics, giving a leader for each example, for each topic, explaining it, and then also telling you how leaders can apply whatever trait or skill to help them become a better leader. So starting off, we discuss leadership traits. This is one of the things that we learnt on in the beginning of the semester. So the specific leader that I chose for this is Pastor B. So a trait is basically a distinguishing quality or characteristic. And the 2 traits that I would like to focus on right now in the leader is their integrity and their authenticity. Yeah.
So why did you choose Pastor B?
So I chose Pastor B because first you need to understand what integrity is. So integrity is basically doing something even when people aren't watching. So integrity in a leader is being able to do what you tell other people to also do. So Pastor B says that she would never tell us to do something she isn't doing ourselves, because she also leads us spiritually. So she'd never tell us to read the Bible 8 times a day if she's not reading the Bible 8 times a day, and things of that nature. And then the authentic part of her is the fact that in a big group of people under Kids Zone, she has like that authentic version of herself towards all of us individually and once we come into a group. So if a leader wants to improve on their traits and their characteristics, it's important for them to first be able to know themselves, because when most leaders are authentic, you'll never find another Nelson Mandela or another Malcolm X or anything of that nature. So it's important to know yourself and then be authentic, because ultimately what you're doing is you're leading other people too, and then you're shaping them, their personality, their characteristics, and all of that. So you can't be blind to who you are and then leading someone else. That's the blind leading the blind. Any questions?
Not for now. Let's continue.
And then the second topic we learned was different types of leaders. There are...
How many types?
There's multiple types of leaders, but some of them were not discussed in this book. There's situational leaders, they're transactional leaders, they're what you call laissez-faire, or laissez-faire.
Laissez-faire.
Laissez-faire. You know laissez-faire, we speak French, yeah. The English people say laissez-faire, which is not correct, but yeah. That's free reign. So when you quand tu laisses les gens faire, qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent? Oui.
Let them do.
Yeah, you just let them do. But that one wasn't discussed. So, and then there's a new one that I learned, was the political savvy. That's a leader who, I didn't know about this until I did it. Like when you don't know you know something until they tell you about something. So that's basically a leader that, it says here, they build and maintain good relationships with people. So what Papa does in that. So then the 2 leaders that I picked for this specific one was my 2 friends who have their own brands. One is a photographer, his name is Fury, and the other makes clothes, his name is Rolly. So the reason why I picked these 2 is because of the networking parts of political savvy. You know what networking is? Yeah. So networking and political savvy go hand in hand, with also other traits too, but yeah. The reason why these 2 work is because these guys are gents who they know many people. So because they know many people, they have good relationships with many people. Me, one of them too, I also know them personally. They're able to lead and help the brands at themselves. So then if they need reference for a photographer, because he has a good relationship with me, Stella, and other people also, it helps them that way.
Do you also learn from them? That kind of leadership?
They learn from me.
They learn from you?
Yeah, they learn from me.
Okay.
And then I could also put myself over there for networking and that, because yeah. And then situational leadership. That one, basically what it means is when you lead according to the situation. So not all the time will you find that you're in a position to lead. So then when situations happen you need to be flexible. So then it says over here, it's a leader's ability to be flexible in that position. So for this one, I picked you because you're my mother, right? You know when you lead, like when you need it. You see when
What
you're
do I
young,
do?
huh? You see when you're young,
Mm.
and then you need to get out the house. There you lead, because what the situation is, getting your kids ready for school, going out the house. When we're at the airport, well, when we were younger, because now we do it ourselves, we don't need you to lead there. The situation of a mother traveling with her kids at the airport, that's where you lead. Doctor's appointments, when we don't know that information in that, different situations, different leaders. So then how can leaders apply situational leadership specifically? That one is experience, you know, because you don't prepare yourself for situations where you can lead, because some situations you either step back and you let someone else lead, or you learn at that spot. So it's nothing that you can say, okay, sure.
When the situation happens, and then
You can understand. And then the next topic is managing up and down. This one here in a business is sometimes difficult, but for us it's easy. So for this specific example, I chose Miss Train. You know, remember Miss Train? And I chose the football team, like our first team and second team. So managing up involves building a good work relationship with the leader while simultaneously getting your needs met. So it's basically, in simple terms, you going to your boss and telling him what you want to happen, you know, but you have to do it correctly, or else it comes off as what. So then, to give you an example of us, the football team, right? When we would get into the team in the season, it would be, we would have, you know, tactics. I don't know if you know, but there's tactics, the kit we want to wear, how we want to play, the tournaments we want to be in. As a group, that's when we all lead, like together, and then we go to Miss Train, right? Because now we're managing up. Now we telling her what we want.
it's like a proposal.
Yeah, a proposal. Yeah, managing up, a proposal. So when you propose, we propose to her. We say we want to play these teams, we want to wear this kid, and what. Now, because she isn't the head of sports, it's another lady, Miss Jones. That's when she now manages upwards again herself, proposal to Miss Jones, and she says, listen, I feel like, and the boys feel like, this is what we want from the season, this is what we want to wear, what's the budget, and. So now the importance, like a way that people can apply this in the, in the business, right? You need to be prepared. Because usually if you go to your boss and you're ready to tell him, oh, you want this, this, and this, you can't just go there, consai, and then you just start speaking. So you need to come there prepared and say, okay, I'm going to ask him about this. And then leaders in that high position, right? They already have, like, your workload goes higher the more you go in whatever the hierarchy. So then it wouldn't be good for you to now say, I want a proposal on this. So you give them the problem, then you leave them with the problem like that. You don't even tell them ways that they could, you don't come with a solution.
So you have to prepare to give the proposal, and you prepare your own solution in case, you know.
Yeah. So it's that. And then sometimes if it's a not behavioral problem, but let's say if the leader is not doing something correctly, there are certain situations where you can have that proposal, but then it's up to them to, their responses makes or break the whole thing. So yeah. And then the next one is how leaders gain followers. Yes?
How do they gain followers?
So it's developmental. So
Please explain.
So the development of a leader and follower relationship it's influenced by factors, right? And then it's basically the interpersonal chemistry between them. So the relationship that they build over time. And then an example is Papa. You know Papa. Yeah. He has the people that work under him, and then after that they can't follow him if he, number one, he doesn't know what he's doing himself. So you need to know what you're doing as the leader, and then you need to inspire them. Like, you need to motivate them and put them in a position where they want to work for you. So you need to have like a clear vision of your business, your goals, and those stuff. And then you also need to lead by example. This goes back to leadership traits. See, integrity. So you need to lead by example. And then it's mostly just relationship and goals, because you can't follow someone who you're not on the same page with. You can't follow someone who you don't have the same goals as. Because now if your goal says one thing and another person's goal says one thing, then the leader and the follower won't see eye to eye, then they lose the leader loses the follower loses the leader. Then it's friction. And then last one. Then giving feedback as a leader. So there's two types of challenges with this, and it's communication media and judgment and attribution. So then a specific way that you can give back feedback that most people know is one-on-one coaching. Yeah. And then there's also 360-degree feedback. But we're going to focus on the one-on-one coaching. This one here, an example leader that I use the school teachers in general. Because you know when those parents' evening, when the parents would come in and then the child would come in, or like either one parent or, well, let me give another example. School teachers, right? If you don't get an answer correct, they'll come to you like this. Like most of them, sometimes they do. They come to you like this directly, and then they'll be like, "You didn't get this answer right because so, and so." You know. And then when they give us our test backs, sometimes it's one-on-one coaching, but it's not direct. So then they write on that paper, it's saying, please do this next time, elaborate on this, or that. And then sometimes it's, please see me after the class. And then, you know, when you have extra lessons, like after school, there's extra lessons that some teachers do with kids, certain kids. One-on-one coaching not only teachers, but tutors, because the tutor, for the most part, is that tutor and that child. So it's one-on-one coaching. So then you actively giving feedback on the child based on how they perform, and you're teaching them at the same time. So then there's steps to this thing. So first you need to establish and communicate performance goals. So for the most part, that's doing well in your test, if we're looking at school-wise. And then you need to collect performance data and make observations on how the child performed, and that's analyze the performance, including the gaps. The gaps referring to what could have been done better, what was wrong, and so. And then provide feedback and advice. This is where the one-on-one is actively taking place, like the feedback is actively taking place. And then the fifth one is get followers' agreement on that issue exists.
How? Please explain.
So
give more details.
When you can't give feedback if a person doesn't agree. So you can't tell me I did something wrong and then I say no. Yeah, so you need to give feedback as a leader in a way that the person is able to see that this is something that was wrong, and then they're able to acknowledge it and then fix it. Because then if you give that feedback and then they don't accept it, then it's not feedback, then it's a complaint. And then number 6 is mutually desire and implement a development plan. This one is you can only do this one if you've done number 5, which is the agreement. Because then once you've agreed that there's an issue, then you can find a solution for the issue. So you can start with okay, this time we're gonna do this differently. So like tutoring now. After you tutor, while you're tutoring the person, they come back with the test. You see that the child that you're tutoring did bad. You identify the gaps, you speak to them about it, and then you say this is a problem. They see the problem, they agree with it. And then that's when you both start studying more and then finding ways of doing better. I don't know. Yeah. So tips for this, or how leaders can implement this. You need to focus on the behavior, not personality. Because when you give feedback as a leader and you're focusing on the person's personality, then you're not giving feedback, then you're complaining about the person. You know, you might as well file a complaint instead of saying, oh, this is productive feedback. And then you need to encourage two-way dialogue. Because if I'm giving you feedback...
That's important. It's important.
If I'm giving you feedback and you're not listening and you're interrupting me, and you're interrupting me, then it's... No, actually, if I'm giving you feedback and no one's listening and I'm the only one speaking, then it's useless, you know. You just...
one way.
Yeah, it's one way. Then you're just talking amongst yourself. So encourage dialogue so that you giving your feedback and then they telling you they understand, you understand that they understand. Sharp. And then after that you need to follow up. Yeah, that one is self-explanatory, but with teacher example, tutor example, you've done the 6 steps, you've gotten a solution. You've gotten a solution of how they can improve, and you've made a plan. They're going to study this way. After all of that, you need to now check with the next test if this thing has actually worked. That way you know that your feedback was successful or not. Yeah, any questions?
Yeah, I understand. It was so clear. Well explained.
Okay, we're done.
Thanks.